How can you get started in real estate investing? That's a great question, and by the end of this video, I'm going to show you how you can get started in a big city like Toronto or even Manhattan. And I have a very special surprise for you. Hey friends, I'm Paul Haley, Toronto realtor, investor, educator, and speaker, and I want to show you how to invest in real estate. So this is actually part of a two-part series in collaboration with my good friend Antonio from Invest Starters. So I'm going to talk about how to get started investing in a big city.
And I'm going to show you how you can find a location nearby that's cheaper to invest in.
So first of all, I want to outline a little bit of the how and why you want to get started in a big city, and then I'll go through 3 ways that you can actually get started, 3 practical examples. Okay, so why get started in a big city like Toronto? Well, the first thing you're thinking is it's a bit difficult, right? Because prices are high and the capital required just to get started and the salary you need to get approved for mortgage are also going to be high, right? So you need in Canada, you need 5 to 20% down payment. So that's the capital you're going to need just to get started on the property. And typically a mortgage is say 4 to 5 times your salary. So that kind of limits how much you're able to afford by how much you can make.
So there's a few different ways you can get a low down payment in New York City. One is you can get a 0% down payment with the VA loan. This is only for veterans and only for veterans who are planning on living in the property. 2 is FHA loan. FHA loan allows you to live in the property and you can put a 3.5% down payment. This will allow you to get a home all the way up to $1.4 million in New York City as I'm making this video. A quad will go for that high. The only downside is you need to have high income for these things.
You're probably going to have to invest in a condo to start if you're doing it on your own, because condos are cheaper. That's probably what you can afford. But it's harder to cash flow on condos because there are, maintenance fees and cap rates tend to be lower on condos because so many people to enter the market have to buy a condo. They've pushed the price up as high as it can go for that type of property. But there are benefits to investing in a major urban center. So, really the first is market appreciation. Market appreciation will probably be higher than most other investment areas. So the 4 ways you make money, as a reminder, in real estate investing is cash flow, right? Paying down your mortgage each and every month, any development you do to a property to add value, which, is a bit lower on condos, and market appreciation. So market appreciation will tend to be higher in a major urban center where lots of people want to move, jobs are growing, and wages are also growing, right? And oftentimes, like in Toronto, there is a supply problem. Another benefit is you can be close to your investment, So oftentimes I say it's good to actually get your first tenants, to do all those kind of things, so you can learn the business, right? So a friend and client the other day said, and I thought it was pretty interesting. She said it was actually good to find a tenant and go through the process of getting the paperwork from them and doing all that kind of stuff, because there's a lot of back and forth and it takes time, because that really gives you a sense of who they are, how organized they are, which tells you a lot about your prospective tenants. Okay, so you can be close to your investment, and I think you should probably have real estate in the city that you're going to live in, because you could get priced out of the market if you don't, right? So if you're gonna live in a city like Toronto for at least a period of time, you want to own real estate there, because as it appreciates, you'll be able to move up the property ladder.
It's actually always been a dream of mine to own an apartment building in Soho. It's one of the best locations in the heart of downtown in New York City, and it's a beautiful area to live, and the appreciation on that thing is amazing. It's just like one of my dream spots. One day I'll get there.
Okay, so there are 3 ways to get started. 1 is buy an investment condo, 2 is some type of co-ownership, and 3 is to have an investor on board with you. And let me walk through 3 examples of each of these. And part of what I tell people is I talk about what's called the property ladder, and that's just getting into some type of property in a city, so you're building equity, and then you can trade that equity and move up the property ladder. So the property ladder could be, just buy your first property, then maybe co-ownership, then live for free, then replace your income, and then create a legacy for your family. Just as an example of what a property ladder could look like. So each of these examples, I'm going to talk about, how you build the equity that helps you move to the next phase, if you will. Okay, so the first thing you can do is you can buy an investment condo. Now, so this is an actual example that I helped a couple with. So we bought a $440,000 investment condo that was cash flow neutral with closing costs and a 5% down payment. They put down about $28,000. Now it's cash flow neutral, so they're out, no money every month because the rents offset all the costs of ownership, including condo fees, taxes, mortgage, insurance, all that kind of stuff. And at the end of 4 years, if the market's appreciated 6% a year, they're going to have $160,000 built up in this property in equity, which is amazing. So the second way is through some type of co-ownership. So co-ownership is, you get together with another person, maybe a friend, somebody, and you both buy a property and you potentially live there. So here's an actual example that I did for two girls that got together. They were just friends, and they got together and they said, okay, well, we could each buy a condo, but together we could buy a house, we could buy a triplex, we could live in one unit, we could rent out the other two, and we could be, pay less every month in rent, right? And we could build equity, more equity over the long term. So they bought $1.1 million property. So they each, they had to have $550 total each, right? And of that, so with closing costs and down payment, they needed $130,000. Now you're probably thinking, how can I get started with $130,000? Well, you might need to do the step before, right? Where you build that 160 in equity, and then that lets you get into this type of property, right? This could be your next move. So the total amount that they have to pay every month for rent is $850, because remember, the rent from the other two units is going to offset some of their costs. And after 3 years at a 6% market appreciation, they would have built equity of $390,000. Now that's through paying down the mortgage and through the property value going up and up every year. So you could start with a lower down payment if you could find a property that's under $1 million. They do exist. One that has, potentially 3 units or more, where you're living in one and renting out the other two. That's offsetting the costs. And then you only have to put down 10%, maybe a bit less than 10%, but say, you'll need about $50,000 each person for down payment and closing costs to get into a property like that. And then the third way is to have some kind of investor, right? So a lot of people get started in the property market and they have a friend or family, gift them the money for the down payment, but you also may need to put a family or friend on title. Maybe they're just an investor. It's different sort of than, say, a co-ownership where they're going to live there too. Maybe they're just an investor. They're going to be on title because you're going to need their income to help get you approved for a higher mortgage amount. So that being said, you're actually going to need someone that potentially has income, right, and doesn't have a lot of other debt that's going to mess up the debt ratios. So you will need to talk to a mortgage broker, and I can connect you to kind of help you figure all that out. I don't have a specific example for this one because it really depends on your situation and who the investor is going to be. But if you want to book a free investor consultation, we can sit down and we can talk about what are the things you might need in an investor, and there are third-party investors as well. And the other thing is, if it's a friend or family member, you're going to need to convince them. And luckily, I have a video, whatever corner that's in, that will help you do just that, where I talk about how to convince a family or friend to come in on an investment with you. So check that out. So I hope you found that hugely helpful. Please check out my friend Antonio's video.
If you don't want to invest in the expensive city and you want to invest outside of that, I'm going to show you step by step how you can find a location that's cheaper than the expensive cities to invest in. Come over and watch my video. You got to click somewhere on screen to hopefully get there. I don't know where it is. Just click.
And please leave me a comment, like this video so I'll know to make more of this type of content. Please smash that subscribe button so you get updated every time I make a new video. And if you want to chat about getting started in a major city like Toronto, please shoot me an email, paul@paulhaley.ca, or you can book a free investor's consultation below. Talk soon. And luckily for you, I've made a whole video on that. Why is that? Stay. I'll do that again. Say 3 units, potentially more. You could, bugs, man. Ugh. But there's lots of benefits to investing in a city. That's my crying. Friend and client the other day said, what did she say? Seriously? Another plane?